In the last episode, Pharaoh pursued the Israelites with his entire army. Trapped between the chariots and the sea, the people cried out in fear. But Moses stretched out his hand, and God divided the waters. Israel walked through on dry ground, while walls of water stood on either side. When the Egyptians followed, the sea returned and swept them away. On the far shore, Moses and Miriam led the people in a song of triumph. The Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. But now the song fades. The celebration ends, and the wilderness begins. Moses leads the people from the Red Sea into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they travel through the wilderness without finding water. The sun beats down. Dust fills their throats. Children cry. Livestock grow weak, and still there is no water. Then they come to Marah. There is water here, a pool, a spring, a promise of relief. The people rush forward, cup their hands, and drink. But the water is bitter. They cannot drink it. All that hope crushed in a single swallow. The people grumble against Moses. "What are we to drink?" Moses cries out to the Lord. And the Lord shows him a piece of wood. Moses throws it into the water, and the water becomes fit to drink. There the Lord issues a ruling for them. He tests them, and he says, "If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." The people drink. They fill their jars. They move on. They come to Elim, where there are 12 springs and 70 palm trees. They camp near the water. For a moment, there is rest. But the journey continues. The whole Israelite community sets out from Elim and comes to the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. It is the 15th day of the 2nd month after they have come out of Egypt. The food they brought from Egypt is running out, and the grumbling begins again. The whole community grumbles against Moses and Aaron. "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death." The memory of slavery has already grown dim. The taste of freedom has already grown bitter. All they can think of now is their hunger. The Lord speaks to Moses. "I will rain down bread from heaven for you." The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the 6th day they are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days. Moses and Aaron tell the people, "In the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we that you should grumble against us?" That evening quail come and cover the camp. The people eat meat. In the morning, when the dew is gone, thin flakes appear on the desert floor, like frost on the ground. The Israelites see it and ask one another, "What is it?" Moses says, "It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat." The people call it manna. It is white like coriander seed and tastes like wafers made with honey. Each morning the people go out and gather it. Those who gather much do not have too much, and those who gather little do not have too little. Everyone gathers according to their need. Moses warns them not to keep any until morning. But some do not listen. They save some for the next day. By morning it is full of maggots and begins to smell. On the 6th day they gather twice as much. Moses explains, "Tomorrow is a day of Sabbath rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you want to bake, save what is left until morning. This time the manna does not spoil. But on the Sabbath some go out to gather anyway. They find nothing. The Lord says to Moses, "How long will you refuse to keep my commands and instructions? Bear in mind that the Lord has given you the Sabbath. That is why on the 6th day he gives you bread for 2 days. Everyone is to stay where they are on the 7th day. So the people rest on the 7th day. The Israelites eat manna for 40 years, until they reach the border of Canaan, until they come to a land where they can eat its produce. The journey continues. The whole Israelite community travels from the desert of sin, stage by stage, as the Lord commands. They camp at Rephidim. But there is no water. Again, the people quarrel with Moses. "Give us water to drink." Moses answers, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to the test?" But the people are thirsty. They grumble against Moses. "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst?" Moses cries out to the Lord, "What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord answers, "Go out in front of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile. Go. I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink." Moses does so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Water pours from the rock. The people drink. Moses names the place Massah and Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" The wilderness is not easy. The people are learning that freedom is not the end of the journey. It is only the beginning. They are learning to trust, to obey, to depend on the God who brought them out. And God is providing. Bitter water made sweet, bread from heaven, water from rock. But the testing is not over. Enemies wait ahead, and beyond them, a mountain covered in fire. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Exodus series. If this story has encouraged you, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with others. In the next episode, the Amalekites will attack. Moses will raise his hands in prayer, and a wise father-in-law will offer counsel that will shape the future of Israel.